Hi everybody, it's Kim from Patriot Garden, and tonight we did some pickling of jalapeno peppers and some radishes from the garden. I actually did jalapeno peppers to put up on the shelves, and I just tried a new recipe with radishes. I'm just going to make them a refrigerator pickle, so that was easy. Now, anything that you do with vinegar, like a pickle, can be water bath canned. So once you sterilize the jars and sterilize the lids and pack your jars full of your vegetable, remember it's always important to pack the jars really tightly, because in the processing they're going to shrink and they're going to cook. So if you don't pack them, your vegetables are going to be swimming in your jars when you're done. When you're making a brine for pickling, it's always some combination of vinegar, water, sugar, salt, and it's always important to use kosher salt or pickling salt. Kosher salt and pickling salt don't have iodine. The iodized salt will make your food mushy in the jar. So whenever you're using salt in a brine for canning, make sure that you use a kosher salt or the salt actually marked pickling salt, which you can get with your canning supplies. And then the last ingredient would be some sort of spice. You can make your own pickling spice with celery seed, mustard seed, cloves, dill, whatever it is that you like. And always garlic. I use a lot of garlic in my pickling because I just love the flavor. Some recipes ask you to warm the garlic in the pan with the brine. I tend to like to put the garlic in the jar so that it stays there while the jar's on the shelf and it marinates the food in the garlic. Some recipes ask you to cook the spices in the brine. Some ask you to put the spices in the jar. I never cook fresh dill. If I'm going to make a dill pickle, I'll put the dill in the jar with the garlic. But I might heat the pickling spices, which, by the way, you can buy as an already prepared mixture, which is always the easiest thing to do. But buy them early, because by the time the middle of summer goes, it's tough to find pickling spices. When you're doing canning, remember you must sterilize your jars. Hot soapy water will do just fine, running it through the dishwasher. You also have to heat up your lids. Sometimes you can just boil water and pour the water over the lids, say in a glass bowl. All that you're really trying to do is soften up the rubber on the edge of the lid. But also keep in mind, if it's sitting in boiling water for 10 minutes, whatever you've possibly missed is going to be sterilized during the processing. Putting hot brine in a jar is also important. You don't want to lower your jars into boiling water if they have not been tempered with some hot brine. You also want to remember to take the bubbles out of your jars using a knife or a stick so that your jars don't explode in the water bath canner. That has happened to me, and it is a disaster. The last couple of things to remember are to clean the rim of your jar before you put your lid on, and don't touch that rubber seal with your fingers once it's been cleaned or sterilized. And then finger tighten the ring around. You don't need to tighten that too much. As soon as your jars process and you hear that pop, and the lid does not have any movement to it, then it is perfectly fine to take the lid off for storage. If something doesn't process, if a pickle doesn't process, just put it in the refrigerator. It'll last there for a good long time. You want to check with your recipe to see exactly how long. Now, what do we use pickled jalapenos for? Well, we use them for everything. Nachos, tacos, anything that we would use a jar of jalapenos from the store. But basically, I spent about $4 in peppers and probably pennies for the vinegar and the rest of the ingredients. I ended up with 5 pints of jalapenos to put on the shelf until mine start growing. You'll also notice I added some hot cherry peppers and some habanero peppers because we like things spicy around here. Now, when you're working with these peppers, make sure that you don't touch the seeds. If you touch the seeds, then your fingers are going to sting, and then if you touch your eyes or your mouth, then they're going to sting. As long as you don't touch the seeds, you're okay. Now, when you have a garden, pickling is an ongoing process, right? You're always taking things in from the garden, and for a lot of vegetables, pickling is the fastest and easiest way to get them put up for long-term storage. Now, summer is not the best time to be running your stove all day for a water bath canner. I used an outside burner that I attached to a propane tank and my large stock pot. That basically will stay outside now for the rest of the season, and I'll do all of my water bath canning out here. And then the other thing to remember is as you bring your produce in to pickle, sometimes you have to spend a couple of days harvesting before you have enough to pickle. So I wanted to share with you a product that I use. I am not doing an official endorsement of this product, but I have found that these bags are the best for keeping in your refrigerator and adding your produce to it. If you can't get enough green beans to pickle or enough cucumbers to pickle in one harvest and you need to go over a few days, these bags are amazing. They're called Peak bags. I get them on Amazon. I will leave a link down below so that you can get these. These bags can be washed, and I use one bag per type of produce. So I'll have a lettuce bag and a chard bag and a pepper bag and a cucumber bag. But they really do keep your vegetables crisp and fresh until you have enough to do at least one batch of jars. Okay, everybody, I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, please don't forget to subscribe, share my videos to any beginner gardeners, and as usual, happy gardening.